What was the assessment after watching the film, and were there any fresh concerns that you came out like you knew?
Yeah, I think there's always concerns. I mean, obviously excited to be 4-0. The bulk of the country's not, but in a road environment for the first time. But no, there's always concerns, and the concerns when the scoreboard says 28 at the end of the game, and that's no disrespect to the opponent. I mean, they are trying to win every week, and then I thought saw a lot of stuff, as you go through it, handle a lot, but. I'll say this, most specific to this past weekend, but maybe as a general assessment is I kind of likened it to a pitcher where you got strikeouts, you don't have many walks, you don't have many runners on base, but your ERA, right? You look up at the end of the game, they still got 4 or 5 runs. You say, well, how can that be? Look at my strikeout count. I didn't walk anybody. We didn't have a bunch of big innings, but again, look at the run total at the end of the game. And I don't mean that to deflect. I mean that to really put a spotlight on the fact that chief goal is to keep points off the board. And so, several examples, certainly where we did, and I was disappointed, majorly disappointed, the final touch of the game in the fourth quarter. We got to learn to, as many plays as we made in the fourth, which is a welcome change from some other weeks around here. To have one at the end like that on 4th and 7 was really a disappointment. But no, there's always concerns, but they're weekly concerns. I mean that play we made, and we made a lot of them. We got to go make it again. We did the ones we didn't. We got to find a way to make them.
Seems like Keon's snap count has declined pretty consistently throughout the year. What are you seeing as far as the defensive line rotation?
I think specific to everybody is as you get some guys have a production, and they earn the right to. Again, use another, baseball analogy. Guys getting hits, he's going to keep getting at the front of the order type of thing. But by no means, I don't think it's an indictment against, to your question in terms of Keon himself. Continue to be part of the rotation, continue to fight and scratch and claw to be a major piece of our defense. We expect him to, and I think probably more of a credit to maybe some of the other guys as opposed to a Scarlet letter instead.
What stands out about Colorado's offense, and maybe specifically what Shadur has been able to do so far?
Yeah, just really impressive, and the film, film speaks for itself. I'm sure they're frustrated, missed some opportunities this past weekend, but in totality, which is what, as you go through cut-ups and everything else, all you think you see is an explosive offense and a quarterback and somewhere in the vicinity of 80% completion percentage, which obviously raises eyebrows. The ability to extend plays and still throw the ball downfield is obviously alarming as you watch it, and some skill guys to get that ball to. And so again, very impressive. You so badly want to say they're not good at X and they're not good at Y, and that's just not been the case as you go through the video. So very impressive at the quarterback position, but he's got some weapons to get the ball to.
You give a log jam at linebacker. What's the conversation with Trojan and Shane, and how'd you feel Mason playing?
Yeah, I think it's similar. It's an ongoing, and then in best case scenario, you have that at every position, and we haven't been in that situation in our year and a half here. At every spot, but I mean that happens to be one where you're constantly evaluating. Obviously, the game film is the chief evaluation tool, and then the game week of preparation prior to and then after, and so that's a constant as you evaluate. I know we've talked about we kind of make the decision at the end of the week in terms of rotations, and then sometimes it depends how the game's going in terms of how guys are playing and a number of different things. But no, that conversation is ongoing, and it's also a reminder to the guys maybe to have gotten those reps this past Saturday. Don't assume you're going to get them this next Saturday. So no, I mean guys that we think that as things go on again as early as this weekend can still have a major role for us.
Tackling has been a problem at times, even going back to last year. Do you change your message at all when it is kind of another issue that creeps up again, or is it kind of the same message that it was even last year?
Yeah, I think it's a skill in football that you constantly work on. I mean, the message is to make it, which is obviously just kind of like making a shot in basketball. You tell them to put in the hoop, and they got to do it. But there's also obviously some key fundamentals attached to it. Are you pressing hips? Are you attempting a wrap when you get there? Your feet go dead. And the video, the nice thing is the video shows all that stuff. The problem is you don't get redos. And so the big thing is those are very specific plays. They're not generic issues. And then you got to make sure as a coach and as a player that you're very specific. You didn't make that tackle, but you didn't miss tackles. You missed that tackle. Now, obviously, they can turn. That's twice. That's two different plays in two different instances, and so often it's two different issues. And so there's not just a magic bullet on that. Percentage-wise, again, I would say the needle's pointed in the positive direction, but that doesn't get it done in those moments. You got to trust your technique, trust your fundamentals, put pads on people. I think it was 2 weeks ago. We were really excited about how physically we played, and so which is a great point that it's always a one-week evaluation. It's a one-play evaluation, series, drive, half, and ultimately game. So no, it's constantly working on that.
Let's do one more.
What was the mid-game adjustment like to some of the more creative play calling on the other side versus Arizona State, and how do you guys feel like you handled it?
Well, in some ways, I mean, you could probably evaluate just the same way I did. Where you sit there, some of the wildcat, that they did. A wildcat punt is a new one, and then a wildcat punt fake, and obviously onside. But that's also what you got to expect. I mean, the teams are going to throw it at you, and I mean that from every which way to try to move the ball on you and everything else. And so you're trying to stay ahead of it is the best answer. But obviously some of those instances that didn't show up on tape, prior to. And so in those moments you got to trust your rules. I think for the most part the messaging to the guys is, what you have in those moments is you got your rules to the best of your ability. Trust what you know, let it rip, play fast, play physical, and by and large you're going to end up on the right side of it. And sometimes you got to foul the ball off. I mean, it's not one you're going to hit out of the park. You just, a foul ball means they don't score, right? And so a couple instances where we obviously got to be better than. So, but no, that's ongoing, and give them credit for coming up with some stuff to give you fits.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.